Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH Rebirth of Emperor Yang episode number 162 based on novel. So let's start. When this fire-like flower appeared in the eyes of the public, Xiao Yan, who was sitting on the high platform and closed his eyes in the armchair, suddenly opened his eyes at this moment, and a surprise color crossed the bottom of his eyes. In the depths of his mind, the silent soul bead was also slightly turbulent at this moment. The moment he opened his eyes, Xiao Yang's eyes immediately fell on the flame flowers in front of the old man on the auction platform. This flame-like flower is the biggest purpose of Xiao Yang's trip. Fire plume flower. While Xiao Yang opened his eyes, another place in the auction house, the Lin family and his son and Xu Songming, also set their eyes on the fire plume flower at this moment. Unfortunately, the biggest purpose of their trip is also here. Fire plume flower is used as a medicinal material. Many high-level pills are in great demand for it. Even some high-level pills cannot be refined without fire plume flower. This is just like the ice elixir that Xiao Yang needs to refine. Xu Songming is a third-order herbalist and naturally attaches great importance to huolinghua, a high-level medicinal material. The main reason why he will participate in Xuancheng's auction this time is because he heard that there seems to be a rumor about the existence of huolinghua in this auction, but he didn't expect that he really met it. As for the Lin family and their son, the reason why they had the idea of playing huolinghua was entirely because of Xu Songming. Xu Songming is Lin Rant's teacher, no matter what their secret relationship is, but now, Xu Songming is a third-class herbalist. If you want his help, the Lin family must contribute to him. For example, the fire plume flower is auctioned and then presented to Xu Songming. This practice can close the relationship between the two families in the shortest time. Naturally, the unhappiness caused by the two younger generations will be written off. This has inexhaustible benefits for the future of the Lin family. After all, the energy of a third-order herbalist is extremely huge. What's more, Xu Songming is still a member of the Alliance of Herbalists. Once he can climb this high branch, the future of the Lin family will be far more than that. How can a small Shencheng meet their inner desires? What they expect is a larger force, and the Alliance of Herbalists can undoubtedly help them achieve this wish. As for Xu Songming, he is just a stepping stone on the road of their Lin family's future achievements. Although they still have to bow to him and be polite, but take all this as an investment. When it returns, they will get a greater surprise than what they are paying now. As you can see, the flame you see in your eyes is not a real flame, but a medicinal herb. Its name is huolinghua, fire plume flower. When these three words were slowly spit out from the old man's mouth, the people on the auction ground immediately had their eyes shining, filled with frightened eyes, and instantly locked the medicine in front of the old man. It's really unexpected. In the past, I only heard its name without seeing its shadow. I didn't think this was the legendary fire plume flower. This is the medicinal material used to refine the third-order pill. It's not just the third level. Many high-level pills must have huoling flower as the neutralizer. Without huoling flower, those pills can't be refined successfully. This is the main medicinal material. For a moment, the people who had just calmed down a little because of the old man's reminder were hot again. They didn't expect that it would be huolinghua this time. On the high platform, Xiao Yang's eyes locked on the fire plume flower. The hot color in his eyes was self-evident. At the same time, it also aroused a confident smile at the corners of his mouth. Today, no matter what, this flame plume flower must fall into his hand. At a certain moment, Xiao Yang seemed to notice something. He frowned slightly, raised his eyes and looked in a certain direction. Oh! Then Xiao Yang smiled softly in his heart, and a sneer came up at the corners of his mouth. The place where the feeling came from was Xu Songming. At this time, the latter was staring at him with wide eyes, and the hostility in his eyes didn't need to be said. Xiao Yang once made him lose face twice. Now, at the auction, they stare at the same item at the same time. This time, no matter what, Xu Songming will never let Xiao Yang take advantage of it again. Everyone, I think I don't need to introduce the fire plume flower anymore. The starting price is 8 million Ling coins, and the price increase shall not be less than 500,000 Ling coins each time. Of course, you can also use items of equivalent value for auction. Now, fire plume flower, start auction. Although the value of the fire plume flower itself is particularly high, the people present are not fools. Although the fire plume flower is good, ordinary people can't help it even if they get it, except for the herbalist. If they are attracted by some people with evil intentions, it will become a hot potato and a crime of huaibi. Because of this, although most of the people present were passionate about the flame plume flower heart, they still withdrew their mind after some consideration in their hearts. Although the baby is good, it can't be held by anyone, not to mention that it can't be used. It has no half value to stay in the hand. Instead, it's better to watch it change. I'm willing to give 8 million spirit coins. Just when the whole audience was wondering whether to bid or not, on the high platform, Lin Zheong, the owner of the Lin family, suddenly got up and spoke, and the voice echoed like a bell over such a large auction house. Seeing this scene, Xu Songming, who was staring at Xiao Yang on the other side, first made a slight sign, and then a satisfied smile came up at the corners of his mouth, which was what he wanted to see. With no effort, the Lin family can help him auction the fire plume flowers, which will undoubtedly save him a lot of money. Why not? However, Xu Songming didn't seem to think about how he would end up if the Lin family didn't intend to offer the fire plume flowers auctioned to him. Fortunately, however, the reason why the Lin family auctioned the fire plume flowers was Xu Songming, but it was very different from his inner thoughts. On the other hand, when Xiao Yang heard that the first person to shout and shoot was the Lin family, he was not too surprised. The two families were wearing the same pair of pants and were birds of a feather. Xiao Yang expected that the Lin family would do this. I'll give you 10 million spirit coins. Xiao Yang's face was calm and his tone was quiet. It seemed that he didn't care about the 10 million spirit coins at all, and it was true. 10 million spirit coins. When Xiao Yang's words fell, everyone on the court immediately focused their eyes on Xiao Yang. Their eyes were full of shock. Everyone's face was stunned. Who could have expected that this mysterious man in black could write such a big hand? At this moment, even the Hua family and the Bai family on the high platform, I couldn't help but look away. The Hua family frowned and stared at Xiao Yang, who was facing Xu Songming in the field. Their eyes could not help but flash a look of surprise. If it were them, it would not be impossible to take out 10 million spirit coins, but it would also hurt their muscles and bones, so the subsequent auction would be troublesome. On the other side, Bai's father and son also stared at Xiao Yang in the field. Bai Zhon's face showed the same look as others. On the contrary, Bai Ying involuntarily flashed a worried look on his face. Although he didn't intend to auction the fire plume flower, the man in front of him brought him a strange feeling, which was like someone he remembers deeply. I'll give 11 million ling coin. It was not until a long time later, when the old man on the auction table couldn't help making a noise, that the owner of the Lin family had a gloomy face, especially in a low tone, which sounded like being squeezed out of his teeth. 12 million. Xiao Yang did not change his face, and even stared at Xu Songming opposite. His eyes were cold and indifferent, without a trace of emotion, and even contained a sneer. It seemed that Xu Songming was aware of this and couldn't help shivering. As a third-order medicine refiner, Xu Songming's sensitivity is far from that of other ordinary strong fighting emperors. Even the two families can't compare with it. In such a large auction house, everyone's eyes are constantly scanning back and forth on Xiao Yang and Lin Zheong. Only so far, the situation in the field is still under the control of these two people, but in comparison, most people still prefer Xiao Yang because he is too calm. Xiao Yang is calm like a stone pillar. The wind can't move and the thunder can't hit. No matter how angry Xu Songming is opposite, Xiao Yang is still unmoved. At this time, Lin Zheong also looked gloomy. He had long expected that in order to please Xu Songming, his Lin family would pay a lot of price this time. He just didn't expect that the man in black robe would be so calm. The latter's calmness, on the contrary, made Lin Zheong more and more uneasy. Although he was constantly telling himself, once his state of mind was touched, it could not be said that calmness could calm down. I'll give 13 million ling coin. Lin Zheong clenched his teeth and became more and more nervous. 13 million ling coins have been regarded as a large sum for the Lin family. Once they are really taken out, it is bound to affect his Lin family's foundation in Xiancheng. 14 million. Xiao Yang's face was calm, his tone was gentle, not salty, and his words followed Lin Zheong at the moment of his voice. It seemed that he did not intend to give the latter a chance to breathe. Hearing Xiao Yang's words again, Lin Zheong's body stagnated for a moment. In his eyes, his pupils could not help shrinking slightly, and a cold sweat slipped slowly from his forehead, indicating his inner struggle at the moment. The price increase is related to the foundation of his Lin family. If the price is not increased, it will affect the relationship between his Lin family and Xu Songming, and this will indirectly affect the future of the Lin family. Both of them are extremely important to today's Lin family. No matter which party is lost, the future pattern of the Lin family will be affected. Damn it. It's all because of you. If it weren't for you, this fire plume flower would be my Lin family's thing. Staring at Xiao Yang from a distance, Lin Zheong couldn't help but raise a group of anger at the bottom of his heart. He kept struggling left and right in his heart. He didn't speak again until a good film was carved. I'll pay 10. 15 million. Lin Zheong spoke in a deep voice, and his voice was as low as a roar. 20 million Ling coin. This time, Xiao Yang directly increased the price by 5 million, which made Lin Zheong's body shake violently, and the people in the field also immediately gathered their eyes on Xiao Yang. At the moment, they opened their mouths and looked stunned. At the moment, Xiao Yang looks like a madman in their eyes, a madman without scruples. Even if he doesn't lack spiritual coins, the money is not so wasteful. That's 20 million Ling coin. On the auction platform, the old man looked at Xiao Yang with a smile on his face. He recognized that it was the man in black who had taken the first auction item. Looking at his leisurely look at the moment, 20 million Ling coins, it seemed that he didn't care at all. With this in mind, the old man looked more curious when he looked at Xiao Yang. You know, that's 20 million spiritual coins. Even he should think carefully when taking out these spiritual coins. What's the origin of this guy? Before that, I didn't seem to have heard of anyone like him. The old man frowned in his heart and speculated about Xiao Yang's identity. As for the 4 main doors, he threw them away from the beginning, because the old man had seen Xiao Yang's strength from the beginning. 1.5 emperors, he would not think that people like this would be owned by the 4 major gates. You know, the real talents in the 4 major gates have already reached the level of fighting emperors. At this time, the situation on the auction ground has finally changed. I'd like to give 10 low-grade spirit stones to auction this fire plume flower. Standing opposite Xiao Yang, Xu Songming stared at Xiao Yang with a sneer, ridicule and disdain in his old eyes. Even if you have more spirit coins, what's the use? The so-called spirit coins are nothing in front of the spirit stone, Xu Songming said disdainfully in his heart. At the same time, his palm stretched out and was exposed to the air. His mind moved. With a flash of brilliance, 10 energy spars, which were as white as lanolin jade, appeared over Xu Songming's outstretched palm and floated quietly. These 10 snow-white energy crystals are exactly 10 spirit stones. Wow! The appearance of this scene shocked everyone on the court again. Unexpectedly, it was just a fire plume flower. It was so shocked that it was not only the high price of 20 million spirit coins, but also the spirit stone. On such a large auction ground, countless hot eyes fell on Xu Songming like a spotlight. To be exact, it was the 10 spirit stones suspended in front of him at the moment. As we all know, in the final analysis, all the spirit coins on the mainland come from the spirit stone. Therefore, the value of the spirit stone is often on the spirit coin, which is more than the situation in the auction market. Xiao Yang certainly took out 20 million spirit coins. Although the number seems to be very large, if you really compare it, compared with 20 million spirit coins, almost everyone will choose 10 spirit stones. The value of spirit stone is unmatched by spirit coin. This is the reason why Xu Songming shows such a manic expression at the moment. When the spirit coin is placed in front of the spirit stone, it is worthless at all. Feeling the hot eyes cast by the whole audience towards him, Xu Songming's mouth slowly raised a smile. Under his deliberate control, 10 spirit stones surrounded Xu Songming like trophies, and he was like a champion under the attention of everyone, like a bright star. Master, you can drop the hammer. Xu Songming raised a sarcastic sneer at the corners of his mouth, turned his eyes and looked at the old man on the auction platform below, ignoring Xiao Yang opposite. It seemed that the war had ended with the spirit stone in his hand. At the moment, he was just waiting for the settlement. Why worry, sir? The one hasn't said it's all. The old man smiled faintly. From Xiao Yang's calm face, he could see that the latter's heart was not affected by it. Ha ha, it's just 1.5 emperors. Even if you can get 20 million spirit coins, this should be your limit. Don't mention how many spirit coins you can have left, just rely on the spirit stone. As long as you can take out one more piece than me, I'll give you this fire plume flower, together with the 10 spirit stones. Xu Songming sneered with disdain at the corners of his mouth. To say the spirit coin, maybe the black-robed man in front of him still has it, but when it comes to the spirit stone, even the 10 spirit stones in his hand are hard-won. How can he believe that the black-robed man in front of him has a spirit stone? As soon as this remark came out, everyone on the court was in an uproar. Everyone hated that they didn't have 11 spirit stones, otherwise they had to take the spirit stones in Xu Songming's hand. Xiao Yang's eyebrows were light, and his face showed a strange look. He looked at Xu Songming from a distance. His eyes were like looking at a fool. Since there's no, just sit down obediently. I'm sure I'll get the fire plume flower. Xu Songming showed a fierce color on his face and suffered the first 2 blows. This time, he was able to repay the pain brought by Xiao Yang. Who told you that I can't take out the spirit stone? Is the spirit stone still yours? But then, Xiao Yang smiled coldly, with a hint of mockery in his smile. Well. Hearing the speech, Xu Songming's face was slightly stunned. Immediately after that, a strong uneasy mood quickly rose from the bottom of Xu Songming's heart. Does he really have a spirit stone? Xu Songming's heart is slightly stagnant. He really can't believe that this man in black robe really has a spirit stone. You know, with all his hard savings over the years, he has only got 100 spirit stones. This time, he has taken out 1/10 of his own spirit stones for the fire plume flower. How can he have a spirit stone in front of the semi-emperor? In full view of the public, Xiao Yang's smile became colder and colder. He didn't expect that Xu Songming would say such words. It's just like giving a gift to each other. Oh, who hasn't got a spirit stone yet? He sneered softly in his mouth. Immediately, Xiao Yang's heart moved. The next moment, the void in front of him suddenly twisted. Immediately, after a burst of light flickered, an all-white energy crystal appeared in front of Xiao Yang. This is the spirit stone. However, just after Xu Songming saw this scene, the worry on his face disappeared in an instant, and instead, it was a ferocious sneer. Ha. Originally, you are just such a spirit stone. If you want to get the fire plume flower, you too. But before Xu Songming's laughter fell, the void in front of Xiao Yang twisted again. Another spirit stone emerged, and then another. When Xiao Yang finally stopped, there were no more or less spiritual stones suspended in the void in front of Xiao Yang. There were exactly 11, one more than the spiritual stone taken out by Xu Songming. How is this possible? There are not 10,000. Xu Songming looked unbelievable. He really didn't expect that Xiao Yang in front of him could really take out 11 spirit stones. When his heart was angry, Xu Songming waved his big sleeve without hesitation. Suddenly, 10 spirit stones appeared in the void in front of Xu Songming. What if you have 11 spirit stones? I don't believe how many you can have. The final winner is me. At the moment, Xu Songming looks ferocious. What he just said was simply ignored by him. My friend, as you said just now, if the gentleman can take out 11 spirit stones, you will give the fire plume flower to the gentleman and these 10 spirit stones to him at the same time. However, at this time, the old man on the auction table below suddenly opened his mouth. In fact, the invisible authority filled the air and suppressed Xu Songming, who ignored everything. Under the coercion of this coercion, Xu Songming couldn't help but utter a dull hum, but then he bit his teeth hard and his eyes fell on the old man on the auction table. Elder, this is between me and him. It seems inconvenient for Elder to intervene. When he said this, Xu Songming's momentum obviously decreased a lot, not for anything else, just because the old man standing on the auction platform was really powerful and terrible. I shouldn't have taken care of the matter between you two, but this is the site of the space auction. I have the right to manage anything that happens here. Since you have just said that, you should abide by it now. Otherwise, I will expel you from here forever in the name of the space auction and will never participate in the void auction in the future. The old man spewed out some words, which made Xu Songming's face suddenly change wildly. He didn't expect to kill this guy on the way. In this way, he not only couldn't get the fire plume, but also gave the spirit stone he had accumulated hard to others. The key person was the guy who wanted to frustrate his bones and ashes. Just think about it, let Xu Songming raise an angry flame at the bottom of his heart. Finally, because of the old man's appearance, although Xu Songming had 10,000 unwilling in his heart, he sat down angrily. At the same time, in addition to the 10 spirit stones needed to buy the fire plume flower, the other 10 spirit stones also belonged to Xiao Yang, because he said that as long as Xiao Yang can get 11 spirit stones, fire plume flower and spirit stone, it will be presented to Xiao Yang. But Xu Songming spoke in person in front of so many people present. Naturally, it is impossible to break his promise. Of course, the most important reason is because of the old man on the auction table. As the old man said, in this void auction house, he has the right to manage any affairs. As long as he says a word, Xu Songming will never participate in the void auction in the future. Xu Songming has no doubt about this. After some fierce competition in the past, Xu Songming clearly knows how much energy this void auction contains. If he has a chance in the future, he will never miss it. Therefore, if he wants to have a chance to participate in the void auction in the future, He must not offend the people of the Void Auction. Although Xu Songming is now a third-level herbalist, he can understand that his identity as a third-level herbalist is no more important than these guys. As for Xiao Yang, after he got the fire plume flower, Xiao Yang was already satisfied. The other 10 spirit stones were presented to the Void Auction in Xiao Yang's own name. Of course, the latter would not be bad for this spirit stone. However, Xiao Yang's practice would just get their favor. At least, he would not be hated like Xu Songming. On the auction table, the old man put away the 20 spirit stones flying towards him. His old face smiled more kindly, but all of them were directed at Xiao Yang. Although Xu Songming was the owner of these spirit stones, he was the former owner. 20 spirit stones are not many but not few for the empty auction house. For themselves, 20 spirit stones are of no importance at all, but for ordinary people, it may be more than they have accumulated for many years. The value is far from being based on the number alone. On the stand, Xiao Yang sat back in his seat and put the fire plume flower into the jade box prepared in advance. After receiving it into the ring, he stretched out his hand. The 11 spirit stones suspended around Xiao Yang entered the ring in a flash. Xiao Yang thinks he is not a stingy person, but he is far from being generous. The reason why he handed over the 10 spirit stones to the elders on the auction platform is only because these spirit stones do not belong to Xiao Yang. What he won from Xu Songming is only the right to use the 10 spirit stones. The value of the spirit stones is no longer in Xiao Yang's eyes. Rather than keep it, it's better to follow suit. To be frank, Xiao Yang doesn't need Xu Songming to give a spirit stone at all. In Xiao Yang's eyes, the latter spirit stone is just like an ordinary stone, which is worthless. After taking back his mind, Xiao Yang's heart finally calmed down at this moment, and the fire plume flower arrived, which indicates that the medicinal materials used to refine ice elixir have been basically collected. Now, just wait for the east wind to arrive, and you can start to prepare to refine ice elixir. But this east wind does not refer to ice spirit cold liquid, but huibadan. The medicinal materials needed to refine Bodhisattva have been collected. According to Xiao Yang's current medicinal material reserve, there are 4 pieces in total. That is to say, Xiao Yang has only 3 chances to fail in refining Bodhisattva. If he fails even the 4th time, then Binglingdon may be hopeless. And as for the ice elixir, even if Xiao Yang is more conservative and tries his best to control the dosage within a desirable range, a fire plume flower can only be used twice at most, and it is common to connect several other medicinal materials. Therefore, even Xiao Yang has only 2 opportunities to refine ice lingdan. Once he fails, if he wants to collect all the medicinal materials for refining ice lingdan again, I'm afraid it's impossible. On the other side, Xu Songming looked at Xiao Yang living under the black robe from a distance. In the depths of a pair of turbid old eyes, the turbulent killing intention gradually condensed. The person in front of him has lost his face several times. This shame makes him stand in front of others in the future. As soon as the space auction is over and returns to the Herbalist Alliance, I'm afraid this matter will spread soon. At that time, it will be another ridicule, which makes Xu Songming how to swallow this tone in his heart. Boy, today's shame, I will find it back. The other 3, the Bai family, the Hua family and the Lin family, are also observing the situation on the court. The Bai family and the Hua family don't care, but the Lin family has a low atmosphere. I wanted to auction the fire plume flower to Xu Songming, so as to quickly close the relationship between their 2 families. But now, the auction of fire plume flower has touched a nose. Xu Songming must be very dissatisfied with them now. Who knows what the old man will do to his Lin family after this matter. Fortunately, as a subsidiary of the 2 families, the Lin family doesn't have to worry about being hired by Xu Songming. After this little episode, the old man took out an auction item again. No matter what the mood of the families on the stage was, once the auction started, no one could stop it unless it was over. Soon, the atmosphere on the auction platform was mobilized again, and the voice was high. These people wanted to go to the stage and grab the auction products in the hands of the elderly directly. On the auction ground, almost everyone's eyes gathered again because of the auction products in the field. Even the people of the 2 families were no exception. Only Xiao Yang was lazily leaning on the back of his chair, under his black robe, with his eyes slightly closed, waiting for the end of the auction. Xiao Yang has achieved the main purpose of coming to Shenzhen. As for others, Xiao Yang doesn't want to pay attention to them. Let these madmen fight for them. With the passage of time, the auction has become more and more popular. Even the value of those auctions on the market is increasing rapidly. In the end, they are on the edge with the spirit stone. A few precious auctions have reached the stage that only the spirit stone can be auctioned. This makes most people feel great regret and look on their faces. It is also more hot. You guys, it's not that you don't realize that this auction is coming to an end. Most of the people present must still have more to say. Don't worry, our auction is still held in other places. If you have the will, you can come. On the auction stage, the smile on the old man's face became more and more brilliant because of several high-price auctions. Until this moment, the old man showed a warm smile to everyone present for the first time. Then, the old man stood at the edge of the auction table and slowly retreated. He walked to the center of the auction table and looked across the audience again. Then he raised his hands and clapped his hands with a smile. Pa, pa, pa. Then the next moment, the auction platform at the feet of the old man suddenly vibrated. At the same time, everyone on the high platform also saw that the auction platform around the old man suddenly separated except where the old man stood at the moment. The original complete auction platform is divided into 4 pieces. Plus the one standing at the foot of the old man, it is 5 pieces. The separated gap is like a bottomless abyss and a dark hole. Then, 4 lights shoot out from the crack, like 4 light walls, quickly wrap the whole auction table, and the old man is also surrounded by the light wall. The appearance of this scene surprised most of the people present. They couldn't help but show a surprised light in their eyes. What the old man said just now doesn't mean that the auction will end. Then look at the appearance in the field at the moment. The items to be auctioned next seem to be a little different. From the light wall alone, all the strong fighting emperors present dare not underestimate it. Even as representatives of the 2 families, Bai Ying and Hua Ting, are also not sure that they can break the light wall. Are you finally going to play? Under Hua Ting's broad-sleeved robe, his dry palm was slowly clenched. Hua Yuning was also absorbed and fixed his eyes on the old man on the stage. The same is true of the Bai family and their son on the other side. As for the others, although their eyes are still hot, they know nothing about the next auction. They dare not have other thoughts except curiosity. Next, everyone, is the last auction item of this space auction, which is also the final item of our auction house. Inside the stone platform wrapped by the light wall, the old man's face gradually became solemn, and his eyes slowly swept through the audience. His eyes were sharp, so that he could not help but coagulate slightly in the people he saw. Xiao Yan, who was aware of the change in the atmosphere on the auction ground, closed his eyes and waited for the end of the auction, could not help but slowly open his eyes and looked at the auction ground at the moment with surprise. Immediately, when the eyes of all the people present gathered together, the old man took back his eyes and the vigorous fighting spirit in his body slowly surged. Then, the calm old words slowly came out of his mouth. You have also seen that the light wall rising on all sides cannot be easily broken even by the strong fighting emperor. Therefore, if there are people with other thoughts present, it's better not to think about it. Although all the people present were in the endless void, the old man still made a sound of alarm, which was also to eliminate those unnecessary troubles. Seeing the audience looking at each other, the old man glanced across the audience again, took back his eyes and paused slightly. Then he stepped on the ground under his feet 3 times with the soles of his feet. Then, another light was emitted from the crack in front of him. In a twinkling of an eye, it turned into a scroll with black paint and simple shape. Final auction, Holy Order skill, Holy Order skill. Speaking out, the faces of the people present suddenly changed. Some people were even stunned by this sentence. Some people looked at each other suspiciously. It seemed that some doubted their ears. They were afraid that if they heard wrong, they would attract ridicule. However, whether these people look around or are shocked, when they look at the old man in the auction house again, the answer in their hearts is confirmed. At this time, the old man was holding the painted black scroll in the palm of his hand and placed it over the palm. His eyes looked calm, and a pair of turbid old eyes swept the whole audience again. Everyone, you heard me right. The last item on the axis is this volume of Holy Order skill. Wow! Hearing the old man's personal confirmation, the people present finally no longer doubt, and the noise immediately sounded in the auction house. The noise was as loud as trying to lift the top cover of the whole auction house. Holy Order skill? Is it really a Holy Order skill? I didn't expect that in the Western regions, there would be Holy Rank skill. For a time, a voice full of shocking words sounded constantly on the auction ground. Holy Order skill, which is the top super skill among all skills, except Holy Order Taboo skill, no one can compare with it. The Holy Order skill, even in the whole Yuanwu continent, is extremely rare. Even in recent hundreds of years, it has never been rumored that there has been a Holy Order skill. This alone can explain the scarcity of Holy Order skill. At present, in the Western regions, the most barren place in the whole continent, there is a Holy Order skill, which is hard to believe. If some people don't believe it, naturally others will believe it. For example, the Bai family and the Hua family came for this holy level skill from the beginning. Now the skill appears, their hearts are naturally pleasantly surprised. This is the Holy Order skill. Hua Ting and Hua Yuning stared at the black ancient scroll in front of the old man at the moment, and their breathing was slightly hurried. The Holy Order skill, not to mention his Hua family, is to look at the whole Western region. No force can have the Holy Order skill. However, these skills actually appear in front of them. If they can get it, his family will be qualitatively changed, or even, I can't say that it can create the fifth force in the Western region. Of the course, Hua family and Bai family had not thought of it yet. What they expected was to get this Holy Order skill first. Compared with anything auctioned before, the value he can show by this volume of Holy Order skill is enough to crush all previous items. Even the White family father and son, who originally looked calm, couldn't help showing an excited look on their faces at this time. It can be imagined that this volume of Holy Order skill has brought them a great surprise. On the high platform, Xiao Yang stared down, his eyes immediately locked the black scroll, and his eyes couldn't help passing a surprised color. Holy Order skill. How can Holy Order skill appear in the barren land of the Western regions? Different from those two families, Xiao Yang's heart is filled with doubts. People all over the mainland know the value of holy rank Kung Fu. Who is willing to auction it if they can get it? Even if the attribute of Kung Fu is different from their own cultivation attribute, it can be left to future generations to use. Take Xiao Yang's idea, but no one is stupid enough to auction the Holy Order skill, unless this guy doesn't pay attention to the Holy Order skill. But it's impossible. Even if the master of this volume of skill has a more profound skill, even if his strength is strong, he can never easily auction the Holy Order skill. If there is no fishiness, Xiao Yang will never believe it. And at this time, the old man in the center of the auction table below opened his mouth again. Ladies and gentlemen, I have one more thing to declare before the auction. When the old man opened his mouth, everyone on the court immediately turned their eyes. Now every word of the old man is related to the Holy Order skill. Naturally, these people present dare not miss the old man's words, even those of the two families. Seeing the eyes from the audience, the old man nodded slightly, slowly stretched out two fingers, pointed to the black scroll suspended in mid-air in front of him, and his fingers gently swung left and right. Then, the people present saw that the black scroll was slowly opened under the old man's intentional control. Ladies and gentlemen, this volume of Kung Fu is indeed a holy level Kung Fu. It's good. Moreover, according to the research of our auction house, this volume of Kung Fu is a holy level intermediate Kung Fu. However, in our hands, it's only a fragmented volume. The old man solemnly opened his mouth. At the same time, the painted black scroll in front of him slowly opened. Then, what appeared in front of everyone in the audience was not a complete piece of content. In the auction house, people stared and saw that there was still a piece of black leather paper in the black scroll. It was not until the scroll was completely opened that they saw that a small piece of bronze leather paper about the size of a palm was clinging to the black scroll and kept in a corner of the whole scroll. From this point of view, one can see that this scroll is really just a fragment. Fragmented script. The appearance of this scene stunned many people present. The faces of the Hua family and the Bai family also showed a look of disappointment. They really only knew the 4 words of the Holy Order skill about the news of this volume of Holy Order skill, but what they didn't expect was that this volume of skill was only a fragment. It's only a fragmentary volume. Even if you get it, it can be of no use. At most, it's just to look around. It's even more difficult to have an epiphany from it. At the thought of this, the people of Bai family and Hua family, who were originally full of excitement, immediately lost interest in this volume of Holy Order skill. Damn it, this space auction dare to deceive the Hua family. This Holy Order skill is just a fragmented script and useless waste. Hua Yuning clenched her teeth, frowned deeply, like a hemp rope, and there was a little anger in her eyes. Well, it's not that they lied to us. The skill is really a Holy Order skill, but we didn't expect it. It's just a fragmented volume. Greedy snakes swallow elephants. They expected that we would lose our sense of propriety and forget ourselves for a while because of the Holy Order skill. They can't blame them all, but it's a pity that we should pay some price to get the magic core. At this moment, Hua Ting couldn't help but feel some resentment, but it's already here. Even if he was angry again, it's useless. Looking back on the previous magic core, he was even more angry. In the end, they didn't get anything. This space auction can be described as returning empty-handed. No, if you return empty-handed, the master will be angry. Even if you can't get the complete Holy Order skill at present, if you can take this fragment back, you'll be forced to pay the difference. Huiting thought in his heart, raised his eyes, looked at the old man on the auction platform below, arched his hands and said slowly, "Please bid." As soon as this remark was made, the people present were surprised. It was just a fragmented script. They couldn't get a complete skill. Even if they bought it back, it was useless. They didn't expect it or wanted to auction it at home. Was it a mistake? Bai's father and son frowned slightly. Since they already knew that this was a fragmented script, they naturally lost interest. To their surprise, the people of the Hua family never let go, but on second thought, Bai Ying knew it. "If you want to take it back to work, you can take it." Bai Ying sneered in his heart. His eyes turned and fell back on the scroll. He couldn't help feeling sorry. It's a pity that it's just a fragment. If it's complete, then in the future. On the auction platform, when he heard Huiting's words, the old man was also slightly surprised. He thought that no one should see the auction again. Unexpectedly, Huiting opened his mouth at this moment. The look in the old man's eyes flickered slightly. The answer to Huiting's opening is nothing more than 2 points. One is to take it back and pretend to look like it. The other is that there are things about the fragments of Holy Order skill on this scroll in the Hua family. Is it? The old man's eyes narrowed, but when he thought about it, thousands of thoughts flashed in his heart, but in the end, he shook his head. Whether there is or not, this is not what he should consider more now. He is the person in charge of the auction house. After auctioning for so many years,